Hey guys, so today's word is the podcast, and let me just tell you this good thing about the podcast. So you know, podcast is an audio-based platform. Like you can hear the people are talking with one to one or one to two, so you can hear them voice. So it's like that medium, audio-based medium. So my actually, if you ask me what is your good habit, Mahir, so I'll say ki one of my best habit is to listening the podcast while I'm doing any activity or I'm traveling or actually I create the habit when I'm doing the breakfast or lunch I hear in the podcast. So average on average daily basis I hear half an hour 30 minutes podcast. So that is my one of the best habit till now. And let me just tell you the how you can implement this thing and how can it would benefits you. So for first thing where you can find the podcast is like we have nowadays Spotify is the main platform for the podcast, and also the Apple Music and the YouTube also. Using the podcast you can got lot of insight about different kind of the sector, like whether it is finance, whether it is education, whether it is books related, whether it is your study related, any kind of different diverse podcast you can get from the Spotify. Now in Spotify there is a podcast section, you can go there and then different kind of section is separated. You can go there, you can listen them. There are music kind of podcasts, there are education, there are self learning, or there are finance, there are poetry kind. If you want to heard about poetry, you can listen to poetry podcast. There are fiction kind of podcast that you can heard a lot of stories. And there are podcasts, it's called new release podcast. It's every week they release. If there is a new podcast release, it will show there. So mine is like my favorite podcast is the Habit Coach podcast, and I listen every day. And the Musafir story from IEPM podcast, I hear a lot from those guys. And there are in podcast industry there are the king. It's called Joe Rogan, and he's the king in this industry because he is known for the making long podcasts, like it's 1 and 2 hour long podcast. He goes deep down in the the person. He take every celebrity or every best people in the US or across the whole globe. He take the interview up there, and I also heard of that podcast. So yeah, it's you can get the YouTube also or Spotify also. So now let's just talk about the how which kind of benefits you got in the podcast. Convenience. So suppose you are busy with something, you are cooking something, or you are driving your car, or you are going in a D-Mart or something like that. So for that you can just play on the Spotify or head your earbuds or headphone, and just you can start the listen. There is no hide and fast. You just need a mobile and you just need your earphone. That's it, and you can start wherever you left off. So that is the convenience. Uh, in the podcast there are diverse of content. You can find lots of good content from different expert industries or sharp-minded people. So that is the best advantage of that. Third thing is the expert insights. So suppose like in finance there are a lot of good people like head fund manager Ray Dalio or lots of things, so the people are come and speak to insight about the thing. So last time I heard the podcast about the the US psychology criminology department. There is one psychiatrist. He talk about the how we gesture our body leg, and it will tell you our personality. He goes to deep down, and then he's the expert in this kind of the investigation. So Yeah, I learn a lot of from that podcast. So kind like that, you find a lot of diverse content from there. Good thing about is, like, all the podcast is free of cost. You don't have to charge. They don't charge anything. So it's a best thing to take advantage of this podcast because it's free of cost available anywhere. The thing is, it's on demand. So suppose whenever you like anything podcast like, you can just play on the music button and just go on. There's one podcast. His name is Ranveer Alhabadia. He's Indian. He take very good topic in do an interview of the one person, and he goes deep down. And nowadays he entered in the politics. So yeah, and the next topic is the is long form of discussion. As I said, Rogan is the known for the long podcast, so it will engage you, like one hour, half an hour. So it's a very, you are imagine it's happening in front of your eyes. So one of my podcasts is like, it's called Humans of Bombay, uh, and it's run by the Kanishka Kapoor, co-founder Karishma. And I like a lot podcast because she covered that niche industry topic to the interviewer, and I like the hear that podcast. uh, next point is the global reach. Now podcast you can hear is available from anywhere on the global. Suppose someone Rogan is uploaded the podcast in US tomorrow, you will get today that podcast within a few minutes or few hours, right? So that is good thing. Anywhere people can listen in any corner. Personal growth, definitely it will give you personal growth because the way you listening, because then you will improve your communication. You will implement that thing in your life. Suppose the finance tips or finance education, you will implement what are you investing, or that one every topic. So definitely it will help you in the long term. I so you the thing is, you have to make a consistency to create the habit of listening to podcast, and you will get diverse of the knowledge, and it will help you in the long term. So, become the community part of that podcast. You will like that community or join that kind of community. So suppose you are like book lover, right? You like the book topic. So there are different podcasts. It will review every new books, and they'll talk with the authors, one-to-one interview, and it's very deep down we interview. And you should listen that podcast, and you will get a lot of insight from the podcast, like how the author gets struggled to making this book, and what is the background process of the launching this book, and all the things. So I encourage you to listen the podcast, and if you want a best podcast to listen, so I attached my blog site website link in below description, so you can go there, and I make list of all the podcasts you should listen. So go check out that vlog. And if you like the video, share, like and share with your friends. And thank you so much.